Well, that was my literal worst nightmare. Really sorry. Let me get everybody back into being on screen. I'm gonna have nightmares about this for, well, ever. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Yay! Oh my gosh. It's fine.
It's fine. We're all back, or we're going to be all back.
We are the last one of the day, aren't we? Aren't we the last one? I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
Oh, good. That's fine. I mean, navigating everything. It's fine. And boom. What's a little technical issue in 2022? It's fine.
It wouldn't be gay without some drama.
This is true. This is true.
We made it.
Yay, we're back. Oh, bless. Okay.
Timothy,
Well.
you have a dissertation for us.
I should have drank some more water. That's clearly where we went wrong today. I didn't drink enough water. Fabulous. Okay, so before that happened, we were giving our younger selves advice. Mine is now always bring an extra charging cord for everything, all the time.
Cool. All right. Well, I don't have a dissertation, nor do I have citations. But I think I would say that I started my journey to publication kind of early because I was like so enamored with YA novels that I wanted to write my own and have my own book on my shelf for like ever. And so when I was about 15, I started trying to get an agent, and a lovely agent took me on and mentored me for quite a long time. And I was always writing these stories with straight characters, with queer side characters, because I thought that the straight character had to be the one to have the hero's journey, and the queer side character was just there to be funny and cheer them on. And I really just wish that someone at 15 or 16 or 17, while I was, exploring my own identity, had said like, those characters can be center stage. It was very clear to, I think, everyone that was working with me that those were the characters I was interested in. Like, those were the characters I was putting my all into. But I was just very, very afraid that, I wasn't certain enough in myself. And so I wish someone had looked at me and said, hey, this is your voice. This is your bag. Like, take it and run. Because I think I would have, come into my own a little sooner, and there might be more than just one of these right now, so who knows.
That's fabulous. All right, we're gonna keep going in the order that we were in before, which should be Jensia's turn.
All right. So the advice that I would have given my younger self is very similar to Merle's. I hope I said your name right. I'm sorry. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
I always say it's Meryl, like street.
Meryl.
Yeah.
I apologize.
You're fine.
And that was that the writing can be the thing that you focus on. I was also doing so many things. I'm like, I'm gonna be a kinesiologist, or maybe I'm gonna be a lawyer, or maybe I'm gonna be like Top Chef. Like, I did so many things, but I was always writing. And so I wish like that also is just a whole thing. I was writing so much. I really could have been like, maybe it's okay, just focus on the writing, and then it's okay. It would have been a lot smoother. A lot of careers that I would have not wasted so many years in, only to land here where I started.
That's fair. TJ.
Yeah, I also had a lot of bad careers before I did this, so that would have been great to be able to tell my younger self that. If I could have also, I mean, this has less to do with writing, and just like, if I could have just like handed off a little pamphlet on gender and been like, hello from the future. Don't even worry about it. Here you go. That could have saved us all a lot of time. Yeah, I think that just, like Timothy was saying, a lot of the books that I was trying to write when I was younger were, just copies of what I had already seen selling in stores. And they were really bad when I wrote them because I didn't care about any of these straight people. Sorry, straight people, if any straight people are in the chat. I just couldn't make myself as interested in those stories as I should have, which is a big clue. So yeah, I think that those would have been great to be able to just kind of hand over to Teen TJ. That would have been nice.
Fantastic. And Erica?
I wanted to be a writer from a very young age, but was discouraged from trying and told to pick a direction that could pay the bills. So I didn't think writing was a career. I thought it was like a fantasy. So the first thing I would tell my younger self is if something brings you joy, don't give up on it. And then later, I got in my head, I got in my own way for far too long. So the second thing I would tell my younger self is that you don't have to represent everyone or be everything to everyone. Be you, and that's enough.
Yes, that's so important. I think one of the lovely things about romance is it's not about the destination. Romance books are very much about the journey because we all know it's going to end with a happily ever after, happy for now. And that's very comforting for a lot of us. And I think that the journey that all of you went on and talked about is what brought you to make your amazing books that we all love now. I know TJ especially touched on it a little bit, but the receiving feedback from fans and people who've read your books, what is a feedback, whether a moment, a message, or anything like that, that just really sticks out to you that's been very important or been special that you'd like to share with us? Oh, and Erica, you get to go first because we're going to go the other way now.
Okay. So just recently, I was at a signing, and I had more than one person come up to me and say that The Perks of Living a Wallflower was the first time that they had seen two women on the cover and that they had ever seen a book that felt like it represented them, it centered them, and that now, they had branched out and they were reading more in the genre and they had discovered other authors, and I was the gateway, and I have never been a gateway drug before. It is so exciting. I love it.
I love that. Romance as the gateway drug is the best thing ever. TJ.
Yeah, I think I kind of alluded to this before, but it still sticks out in my mind. This message I got from somebody's mom, just somebody's mom messaging me and saying like, "Hey, it's me, someone's mom. My kid came out as non-binary recently, and I just, wasn't getting it. And then they gave me this book and thought this could help. And now I'm trying my best, and I'm it's just the thing you want to hear, it's like, in a world where so much of what you do is just trying to not do any harm, it's nice to imagine that maybe you've done something that could have helped someone in some small way. Yeah, that was really cool. And it's also just cool to be like, oh, like, let me give you my mom's phone number. Like, y'all can have a little club on your own. So yeah, that was the one that definitely I had to go lie down in a pile of pillows for a while after getting that.
It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. It's like the perfect gift for every situation. All right. And Chensia.
So the feedback that I've received that has stuck with me, it's like a recurring theme with the women who have reached out to me, whether via email, on my website, or on social media and comments or anything. And it's that Southern Black queer women felt seen, that they read a book, they read a lot of romance, and it's usually very white, and whether it's straight or it's queer, and they finally found 2 Black women, and also a stud femme pairing, because there's a lot of femme romance, but stud and femme, which Black butch, and so they felt seen finally, and also it being Southern, because it's very, like, all of my writing, it's very Houston, which is where I'm from, so that's like a big thing, because I love my city, and so it's in everything that I write, and so for it to be so Southern and just so familiar to them, and they felt seen, and it just made them just feel amazing, and that brought on the waterworks. I'm already a self-proclaimed like crybaby, so I'm already gonna, once you say I bought the book, I'm just like, that's so great. But then like you read it and then you like it touched you. I love it. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Timothy.
I would say that so Had Never Been Kissed, my protagonist Ren finds out over the course of the novel that he is demisexual, and then he's on the ace spectrum. And I met a lovely bookseller when promoting the book way back in May, and the bookseller said to me, I often don't feel comfortable reading a romance because I'm on the ace spectrum as well, and kind of sex repulsed, and so it's not something, and I don't ever know if I'm reading a book if there's going to be sex on the page, and it's hard to find information about that. And they said, I really resonated with the character, and also felt that I felt cared for within the pages of your book, and that really stuck with me because I wanted to write a book that felt warm and welcoming and could feel like a hug when you opened it up, and feel like a hug long after you put it down. And so that was nice. But this is not a piece of feedback, but one of the things that happened to me at my launch was these lovely readers who had read arcs of Never Been Kissed had made staff t-shirts for the drive-in movie theater, fictionally, the fictional drive-in movie theater in the book, and brought me one. They had made them in puff paint and everything, and we all wore them. And just to me that anything that I had put down on a page had meant that much to someone, that they had spent literal hours using a stencil to make something that represented this world that I had created. I think I did a couple laps around the bookstore telling everyone, I was like, did you see this? Do you know what this is? So that was that really gratifying.
That makes me want to cry. Like, I can't even imagine.
I'm almost crying.
I'm like,
it wasn't my book.
I love that.
That is amazing.
For me, I also, like Chensia, going a self-described crybaby. There's a Twitter about whether or not I'm crying at any given moment that just my wife updates at random. And yeah, I would just be weeping. Like, I'm really almost crying from knowing that someone else made t-shirts for you. Like, it's very sweet. But I did the thing that I'm thinking of, the feedback that I've got absolutely has made me cry, and I'm going to try not to cry while talking about it. But I got a message from someone who read something to talk about and loved something to talk about, and it inspired them to come out to their family. And that was just, I don't know, that's just so big to me. And like, coming out isn't everything. Nobody needs to be out to anyone who they don't want to be out to. All of that stuff applies. But especially as someone who not only has come out as bi, but then more recently came out as non-binary, and sort of came out to myself as non-binary, like figured it out more than even came out about it. I know how much I prefer where I am, and what my life is like now that I am both aware and honest about that, and that I am able to choose to be. What works best for me is to choose to be open with, everybody in my life, basically, and get to live as I am. And just so the idea that my book helped someone feel comfortable enough to do that, and get to sort of be more authentically themselves. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything else because I will cry about it, but it meant a lot to me.
It's fine. I'm not crying either. There's so much power in getting to see ourselves in fictional spaces and getting to see either our experiences that we've had or our experiences that we hope for. And I think especially with romance, with happily ever afters. That's something we all hope for ourselves. Do you remember the first time you read a book that you saw yourself in and really identified with? And if you do, would you share that with us?
Do I go first now this time?
You sure do.
Okay. I'm learning. I remember reading Melinda Lowe, and I can't remember which one came first, adaptation or inheritance. One of them is a sequel of the other one, but I just remember reading them and sort of realizing, and it was, you know, like a young adult sapphic book, and being like, oh, like, so people can write this. This is something that is allowed to be, because I mean, I've been writing really fan fiction romance, but I've been writing romance forever, and that's sort of always where I saw myself going. There was really no other choice in terms of genre for me. This is always going to be where I was. But like, I didn't really recognize that was an option. And I have the book here, and TJ's, your book actually also is one of these, but Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. I actually mentored Anita in a program called Pitch Wars and got to work on this book with them. And just, I mean, I even at that time, I knew I was non-binary. I was using they them pronouns, and still like reading Anita's book and seeing how well Anita's book is done, besides the fact that it's like gorgeously written. But just recognizing that, oh, there is a space in, you know, sort of traditional romance for this, and there are people who are going to love it. And, you know, this is a story that I mean, that's not a story I can tell. Anita's much better than me. But, you know, these are stories that I can tell. That still just means so much to me. And when I was, you know, when I was promoting something to talk about, and Love and Other Disasters obviously was not out yet because it came out this year. Whenever anyone would ask the question of like, oh, when did you first see it yourself? I wanted to just be like, here, but it doesn't exist yet, but it's going to. So I shout about Love and Other Disasters all the time, because it just, London Parker just means so much to me. So
that is definitely the hardest part of working in the book world, is having read a book that's not coming out till next year and then being like, I have to tell everybody. Yes, I understand that fully. All right, Timothy, how about you?
So, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, when I was in high school reading Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli for the first time, that was really the first time that I had read a YA novel with a gay male protagonist who had sounded like me, who had thoughts like me, who, you know, cursed with his friends like me, that, you know, felt really relatable and grounded, and made me realize that happily ever afters were for everyone. But more recently, reading Alison Cochran's The Charm Offensive, which is a male romance set on a bachelor-esque show, and the focus on both queerness and mental health made me feel both seen and understood in a way that I had never really felt within the pages of a book before. And it really gave me the courage. So in October, as I mentioned earlier, my second novel, You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince, comes out. And there were, you know, kind of lightly undertones of, you know, grappling with your own mental health in the story before. But after reading that book, I came to terms with my own mental health journey and slowly started teasing out that through line in the story. And it both taught me a lot about myself and taught me that you don't need to be perfect or neurotypical to be worthy of love. And I think that is a lesson that not just queer folk need, but everyone needs.
Absolutely. All right, Shensia, your turn.
So this is kind of like a two-parter. So the first time that I saw myself as a young Black woman was in a book. It was an indie romance. It was a book by Tiffany Patterson, Black Pearl, the first book of the Black Burlesque series. And this is when Kindle had just like started its whole deal, and you could just read, and it was just like an amazing thing. It's when I started to see like my age, there had been plenty of Black romance written under Arabesque and then Kamani and everything, but they were older. The characters all just seemed so much older than me, and that was the first time I had read something, and I was like, oh, they're like millennials. Like they were probably born in the 80s. Like, I get it, like the dialogue and the way that they interacted with each other. I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then the first time I read something and it was like a queer Black woman, it was probably Treasure by Rebecca Weatherspoon. And I was like, what is this? I was like, oh my God, look at them out here just being amazing and like me. It was so great. So yeah, it's so awesome. Like, representation is so important. And as a Black woman, I haven't always had that in my books. I had to become an adult before I could actually see people like myself represented. And so I love it.
That's it really makes such a difference. And it's not until you see it that you go, holy crap.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was missing. And now it's like, give it to me all. Yeah.
All of it. All of
Absolutely.
it.
All of it. Absolutely. TJ.
I am also going to go off the rails here with 2 picks. I think the first book that I read probably in middle school, where I was like, oh, these characters are gay and I don't even have to imagine it. It's like real. It's not all up in my head. Was Swords Point by Ellen Kushner, which I believe was book 1 in a fantasy series. And it's not, I don't even think, I mean, my memory of it's really hazy because it was quite a while ago. So I'm not even sure what the book was about at this point, but I do remember they were gay and they had swords. And that set me on a path of being gay and wanting a sword, I think. It was just a lifelong journey of that. So shout out to Ellen for making that happen for me. And if I can mention a book which is not technically out in the world yet, if I can, if that's allowed. Oh, dang. It's one of the books that's holding up my laptop. Okay, so I read this arc. And I'm going to try and extract it. And if I drop you, I'm really sorry. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Okay, it's happening. It's fine. Everything's fine. Just coming out next year by Camille Kellogg. I finished it a few weeks ago. It's a sapphic romance set in New York. And it's just, I had never seen a main character who was just like a queer person who was just really worried about like things that I myself have worried about, like what, how do I present myself? Do I want to look like this? Do I want to look like that? Do I like how people treat me when I'm dressed more normally, more so than I like how when I'm dressed for just myself and people are, it's just, this is stuff. This is good stuff. And if you're in this chat watching this, you're going to be buying this next year. That's all I got to say about that.
I love that. All right, Erica.
So again, I'm going with the 2-parter theme. I like it. I like this direction, jumping on it. So the first queer fiction that I read was definitely Sarah Waters that I mentioned earlier. But the first time that I read sapphic romance featuring Black protagonists was Alyssa Cole, and absolutely loved it. I can highly recommend all of her. She's got at least 3. So those are my 2 picks.
I am obsessed with Alyssa Cole, so yes. This is amazing, and I want to give everybody a chance to talk about your upcoming project. Tell us a little bit about your books that you're working on and what we get to look forward to, because I'm very excited about all of them. So we're going to start with you, Erica, and go back the other way.
Okay, so in general, I am continuing on with the Wild Winchester series. So if you read Perks of Living the Wallflower and you want more of this wacky found family that are doing heists and they're literal social justice warriors, then there's more of that in the future. Don't worry. And that is my traditionally published. I'm a hybrid author, which means I also indie publish. And I have a title coming out later this year. It'll first be an anthology before it releases solo called Undressing the Duke. And it is a queer romance and it's a very cute romp. And I think it's so kind of like a 2 weeks notice kind of thing, but queer. So I'm very excited about that as well.
That's fantastic. So exciting. All right, TJ.
So like I mentioned, next summer, the sequel to Chef's Kiss is going to come out. I should maybe in the next couple of months have a title and cover reveal for that. But I can tell you it's super queer and it's fake dating and it's tea for tea, which I have always wanted to do. So I don't know, buckle in for that. And then my third book is going to be out next winter, and that is going to be a second chance romance about going back home to your small southern town and, you know, stuff happening. It's called Second Chances in Newport Stephen, so that is out next winter.
This was maybe a mistake of a question to ask because I want to read all of these now and they're not out yet, and that makes me sad.
I want to write all of these now and they are not written.
Yeah, y'all have to do the hard work. We get to just read them. You got to go like make them. Go make them fast.
It's me. Okay.
Yeah.
Also next summer, well, May is like summer, May 30th. It's the summer. I have A Little Kissing Between Friends, which is coming out, and it is another sapphic Black romance with a teddy bear stud and a like super stripper femme. And teddy bear stud, for those who don't know, is basically a fat Black butch lesbian. And they go by teddy bear studs, which is one of my favorite things. So, so it's basically friends to lovers romance. So if that's your jam, you know, that's what's coming out. And I'm also a hybrid author, and I have an indie release coming out. It is titled later this year. Let me like make sure I say that part. Later this year, very later. Titled The Reset, which is the third book in my Black family saga. Yes, so that's heterosexual romance. It's coming out about a barber and a female truck driver. And so,
Nice.
Yes.
That's exciting. All right, Timothy.
Yeah. So on October 4th, my second novel, You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince, will be out. This is my queer Christmas romance, perfect for fans of Schitt's Creek. It's about young, rich, and thoroughly spoiled Matthew Prince, who goes through a bit of a PR snafu and gets sent to stay with Grandma and Grandpa in the Berkshires for Christmas, only to find that he is going to be sharing a room, a bathroom, and a bunk bed with a local college student who can't go home for the holidays. There's some tension. And also Christmas lights and cooking, stuff like that. And then I'm currently working on my third novel, which will be out next fall. That's called New Adult. And that is a queer time travel romance, a very loose play on 13 going on 30.
Love that.
So.
If it's bunk beds, does it count as there's only one bed trope? It feels like it's only one.
I mean, I've been calling it only one bunk bed. I mean, it's also only one shower. I mean, it's only one car,
Yes.
only one town, only one.
I love that.
That's a one.
I'm obsessed with all of these. Yeah, they all sound amazing. I'm especially like 13 going on 30 is Chef's Kiss, so I'm very excited for that. I am currently working on my third book, which is called Cleat Cute, which is about two professional female soccer players falling in love as they're trying to make the women's national team. That will come out next year after the World Cup. I really wanted it to come out during the World Cup, but I do not write fast enough, so it will not. And then in October of this year, we have Mistakes Were Made. It comes out October 11th. It is lovingly referred to as the MILF book. You're either really with me with this book or very much not with me. a college senior has a one-night stand at a bar and realizes the next morning that it is one of her very close friends' mothers, who she had a one-night stand with. And one would think that would stop things, and it does not. So they go from there. It is very spicy. If you like something to talk about because it was a slow burn without much sex on the page, be prepared. This is not the same thing. But I'm really excited for Mistakes Were Made to come out. It's very close to my heart. So yeah, that's me.
So exciting. I love having so many great books to look forward to. My TBR is already crying because I have to read them all now, which I'm very excited for. So thank you, all of you, so much for joining us today, for sharing your talents with the world and writing these stories so that, you know, people like me get to have them on the shelves and we get to read them. And I'm terrible at ending things, but
Thank you for
have a
hosting.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
This has been wonderful.
Fantastic. So have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.